Before we begin our regular business meeting, the board would like to recognize a moment of silence in honor of Christine Pagnotti, who we recently lost. Chrissy has been part of the Francis Howell family for the last 15 years, most recently serving as the lead clerk for the accounts payable department. She also served as an office secretary at both Fairmount Elementary and Sager Middle School. I invite you to join with me in a moment of silence for Christine Pagnotti. Thank you all. Tonight we have leaders for our Pledge of Allegiance that are from Cosley Elementary School. We're going to welcome Mary, Emma, Vihan, and Anna, who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So invite the kids to come forward. And these kids are all part of the K-Kids team at Cosley Elementary that initiate kindness and did the spaghetti dinner for first responders the last couple of years. I invite you all to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Before we approve the agenda, we're going to again restate our vision as part of our strategic plan for the year 2030. This is part of what you can scan as a QR code to access our strategic plan. Invite Director Harmon to begin identifying what our vision is for the year 2030.
Recognized as one of the top 5% high-performing districts in the state.
The employer of choice for talented educators, leaders, and staff.
Fiscally sound with a track record of smart, long-term planning.
Known for graduating well-rounded students who are equipped with the skills and experiences they need to be successful in the world.
Celebrated for the work we've done on culture, morale, and ensuring all members of our community feel safe and welcome.
Trusted by families and the community to make good decisions and do what's best for students.
We have created an agenda that helps us get closer to that vision. And with that in mind, I invite the board to make a motion to approve the agenda for November 20th, 2025 as presented.
So moved.
Director Puskar, followed by Director Ponder. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes. At this time, we'd like to invite our communications manager, Jeannie Smith, to present.
Good evening. Thank you, President Blair. As you know, our strategic plan includes 5 core values that we want all members of the Francis Howell community to uphold. Number 1, we pursue growth and learning. We strive to be a little bit better and a little bit brighter every day. Effort and perseverance lead to excellence for all. Number 2, we focus on what matters. People, relationships, and strategic priorities deserve our attention every day. Number 3, we spend time and money wisely. Strong stewardship requires long-term planning, smart systems, and efficient actions. Number 4, we are kind and safe. We act with integrity and are accountable for the things we say and the choices we make. Words and actions matter. Number 5, we embody One Howell. The power of our community shines when we find common ground, lend a helping hand, and we work together for a common purpose. So last month, we sent framed posters with the core values to every school building. We want to ensure our students, staff, families, and visitors know and understand our values so that they can align their thoughts and actions with them. For this month's strategic plan spotlight, we thought we'd show you some of those posters that are hanging around our 150 square mile district. So let's take a look. So we are one Howell, 23 schools, 150 square miles, and there's one of those core value posters hanging in all of those buildings. All right, next up, we have the honor of recognizing our 2025 Emerson Excellence in Teaching Award winners. The Emerson Excellence in Teaching Awards is now in its 36th year. It's one of St. Louis Region's most prestigious teacher recognition programs. Their school's administrators select honorees for their accomplishments and dedication to their students and the teaching profession. Winners are recognized each year in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. We are excited to celebrate Tara Richards and Michelle Ridlin, who are among the roughly 100 St. Louis area teachers selected this year as examples of truly outstanding educational excellence. I'm going to share a little bit about each of them from the nomination forms, and then we'll call them both forward to be recognized. Ms. Richards has worked in the Francis Howell School District for more than 2 decades. She's taught for the past 23 years at Francis Howell Middle School. Principal Kirstine James, who nominated Richards, praised her impact on the school. She said, "A leader among her peers, Mrs. Richards serves as our building's dyslexia trainer and instructional technology specialist, sharing her expertise and guiding others with humility and grace. Every day, she facilitates and writes curriculum, leads with character education, all while continuing to grow herself as an educator. In her classroom, students are challenged and supported through innovative, research-based practices. Her lessons consistently reflect critical thinking, creativity, engagement, and personalization. Anybody who visits her classroom will walk away with strategies they can immediately use in their own instruction." And our second Emerson Award winner is Francis Howell Central High School art teacher, Michelle Ridlin. Ms. Ridlin began her career in 2001, transitioned into a district leadership role in 2009, where she wrote curriculum for grades K through 12, led professional development, and built community connections. Later, she returned to Francis Howell Central to continue teaching art while also serving as a mentor to new teachers. Most recently, Ms. Ridlin modified the Intro to Art curriculum to create an adaptive art course designed for students with severe learning disabilities. She worked closely with case managers, attended Essential Skills PLC meetings, and recruited A+ mentors to help ensure the class met the students' needs. In the nomination letter, Assistant Principal Ashley Mayer said Ms. Ridlin's inclusive approach to teaching empowers students to take risks and see themselves as capable artists both in and beyond high school. Ms. Ridlin tirelessly creates enriching academic opportunities for every student in art education. She ensures that learners of all abilities feel valued, supported, and challenged to reach their highest potential. She's devoted to excellence, inclusivity, and student success. Please join me in congratulating our 2025 Emerson Excellent in Teaching Award winners, Ms. Tara Richards and Ms. Michelle Ridlin. Love it. That's perfect. Thanks, you guys. Congratulations to both of you. What an honor. Next up, I am very excited to introduce our student board rep for the month of November. As you know, the purpose of the Student Board Rep program is to honor and recognize talented students, elevate the student voice, and provide growth opportunities in the areas of public speaking, leadership, and governance. Students are selected for this honor by their principal and input from the student body. They have an opportunity to prepare and deliver a short speech to the board and public that is focused on their school or the district as a whole. And with that, I'd like to invite Francis Howell Middle School Principal, Dr. Kirstine James, to the podium to introduce our Student Board Rep.
recognize Ms. Harper Grazer as the Student Board Member Representative for Francis Howell Middle School this evening. Harper Grazer is an exceptional student whose character and work ethic shine in every area of school life. She is universally described by her teachers as remarkably kind, thoughtful, and dependable, someone who treats every peer and adult with genuine respect. As a National Junior Honor Society member, Harper excels academically, approaching learning with curiosity, persistence, and a positive attitude, consistently giving her best effort and asking insightful questions that deepen her understanding. As an active member of our FHMS Viking Voice for the past 3 years, Harper was recently selected to serve on our Principals Advisory. In this role, she offers valuable insight, shares ideas, and helps guide important decisions that shape the continued improvement of our school, particularly in the areas of climate and culture. She is a strong advocate for inclusivity, always brings thoughtful suggestions to the table, and was selected for her consistent empathy, leadership, and unwavering support for her peers. She is truly a role model within our school community. Beyond her academic success and meaningful leadership contributions, Harper stands out for her integrity, the genuine care she shows others, and her willingness to help others without seeking recognition. She uplifts her classmates, creates a welcoming and inclusive environment, and leads by example. Harper's intellectual curiosity, compassionate nature, and unwavering dedication make her an extraordinary student, and her teachers agree that she is poised to accomplish incredible things as she moves on to high school. When asked to describe Harper, her teachers and peers had incredibly kind words to say about her that portray her character. I will share a few highlights with you this evening, and we'll share them all with Harper. Driven by a desire to learn, she is intellectually curious, seeking out new knowledge and challenging herself with complex ideas. Harper Grazer has stood out as one of the kindest, most thoughtful, and most dependable students I've ever had the privilege to teach math to. It has been so refreshing to have a student like Harper in my class because her excitement towards learning pushes me to be a better teacher for her and to the rest of my students. Harper approaches every challenge with impressive effort and a can-do mindset, making fantastic progress every day. Harper always has a smile on her face. She has a genuine curiosity about the world and is eager to challenge herself academically. Wow. From her peers, Harper is a kind and very helpful friend. She is always willing to help you out when you need it. Harper is very funny, and I feel like I can be myself around her. What I appreciate most about Harper is her kindness. Outside of school, Harper plays soccer, loves to be outside, and is a great big sister to Tegan, who attends 2nd grade at John Weldon Elementary. Harper shared with me that she might be interested in a career in interior design and hopes to attend LSU, Oklahoma State, or the University of Alabama. Harper, thank you for the quiet strength, kindness, and integrity you bring to Francis Howell Middle School each and every day. We are grateful for you, and we cannot wait to see where your journey takes you.
Would you like all those to change again? Yeah. My picture of a member. Yep. Here we go.
There you go. Perfect. Perfect.
Thank you. Welcome, Harper.
Harper has prepared a speech.
Yep.
My name is Harper Grazer, and I'm 8th grade at Francis Howell Middle School, and a graduate of John Weldon Elementary. Currently at FHMS, I'm serving in National Junior Honor Society and Viking Boys, where I also participate as a leader on the Principal's Cabinet, working directly with students and administration to make our school a better place. One of the reasons why I love the Francis Howell School District is the teachers I have had over the years. Whether at Howell Middle or John Weldon, my teachers have listened, supported, and challenged me, making me the student I am today. Thank you for recognizing me tonight, and I'm grateful for being part of this community.
And Director Olkey will get you comfortable over there.
Hi, Harper. Welcome, Harper. We're very glad to have you here tonight as our student guest member of the Board of Education. Your voice and your perspective are very, very important to us, and we hope you feel comfortable participating and listening to our discussions. You're welcome to ask questions. You get to use this very powerful microphone. So, with great power comes great responsibility. So make sure we do a good job. You won't be able to vote on any motions until you're officially elected, hopefully in the future. But in the meantime, if you feel uncomfortable or need to get going, because it is a school night after all, just let us know and we'll make sure we get you out of here at a reasonable time, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, Harper, and thank you, Director Olkey. During patron comments, residents of the district and staff members are invited to address the Board of Education on issues related to the school district. Speakers are called forward in the order of sign up, and each speaker has 3 minutes to make their remarks. Please remember that only one speaker is allowed at the podium at a time, and combining time or giving your time to someone else is not permitted. The board appreciates that you have taken the time to come this evening, and we value both your input and perspective. I would like to remind everyone that we expect that speakers will remain civil and respectful when giving remarks. If anyone fails to comply with board policies, regulations, and rules, we reserve the right to cut those 3 minutes short. We also ask that patrons in the audience remain quiet in order to be respectful of the speaker's allotted time. And with that, I invite the first person to come forward, Catherine.
So I go to that? So we're gonna.
Yes.
Appreciate it. It's my first time, maybe. Awesome. Ready? Yeah. Awesome. So my name is Catherine, and I have 2 young children in Francis Howell School District. I have a son that goes to Henderson. I also have a son that goes to Hackman Early Childhood. I am also on the Henderson PTO, and I'm also the Vice President of PALS, Parents Actively Lending Support. This is a nonprofit organization that supports families of young children in the Francis Howell School District. Tonight I'm here to talk about how valuable our full-time early childhood program is. And I ask that you please consider these 3 topics that I'm going to highlight that are important when considering the future of full-time early childhood programming. First, I want to emphasize the importance of quality early childhood education. Studies have repeatedly shown that children who participate in quality early learning programs perform better academically and are identified for special education services earlier, which allows them to return to standard programs sooner. Children without these opportunities often face fewer options later in life. When access to quality early childhood education is reduced, we place additional strain on an already strained system that we call daycare and early childhood care. Secondly, I'd like to highlight the early childhood landscape in St. Charles County. All 6 school districts that reside in the county offer full-time care for children ages 3 to 5, though the number of hours does vary. However, when we account for differences in these number of hours, Francis Howell's program is still 47 to 201% more expensive than the other districts. Despite this, 106 children are still enrolled in full-time care this year, generating over $1 million in tuition and supply fees. Families in Francis Howell are choosing to pay the highest cost in the county because they value this program. Lastly, I want to acknowledge the district's recent financial challenges, from the overspending in the Howell North project to almost $250,000 paid to a superintendent who unfortunately never worked a day here. And even when I was growing up, I know that Francis Howell struggled with mismanagement and inconsistent policies because I was a part of the St. Charles community growing up. But I also know that this board is committed to improving and staying focused on what truly supports our students. I hope that the board continues to look forward and considers how best to support our youngest learners. Eliminating full-time early childhood education would close the door to families like mine that require this quality education for our children. I would not be serving today as the Vice President of PALS, and my children would not be thriving. Families who want to be a part of this district would lose a crucial entry point. So I respectfully ask that you consider these points when deciding whether to continue offering full-time early childhood education. These programs not only strengthen families, they strengthen our district and they strengthen our future. Ooh, and since I have 30 seconds left, I also asked some kindergartners.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Is it?
Minutes. 30 minutes.
Oh, gotcha. Thank you. Sorry. I got so excited. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We welcome Grayson Justice to the microphone.
Good evening. My name is Grayson Justice. I'm an alumni of Francis Howell Central class of 2013. My pronouns is he and she. From trying to get rid of elective courses like African American history and literature, discriminating trans and non-binary students with their anti-trans locker and restroom policy, and now in their final 5 months of being a board member of Francis Howell, their main focus is now banning high school books with dealing with reality topics. The books of this particular board member who read parts are A Pulitzer Prize bio, and an author of the macabre and most banned author, Stephen King. Instead of going to every conservative radio stations with your soon-to-be candidates for the next school election funded by PAC Francis Howell families, you could have just helped with the rest of the board members on real issues that really impact this district, but you've gone your own way. I hope everyone have a great and safe Thanksgiving, and let's remember our trans brothers and sisters who lost their lives due to the lack of empathy and bigoted hate groups and people like Jane on transgender of remembrance. Thank you.
Point of order.
Next guest speaking is Ron Pushkar.
Good evening, board directors, Superintendent Delaney, executive staff. First and foremost, I believe in and applaud the dedication, the professional knowledge, and the skills of a vast majority of the Francis Howell teachers, administrative leadership, and support staff. Secondly, as a Christian, a parent, and a taxpayer, I am obligated to expose serious problems and abhor what is evil in my community, specifically in the Francis Howell educational community. My agenda tonight is not to blame or chastise any person for their actions, which is your responsibility, nor will I spew anti-Christian speech about others, as has been heard from this podium many times. And I know that some in the community want to keep America's faith culture out of our schools. However, that does not influence my obligation to expose culturally inappropriate sex and aberrant lifestyle literature in teaching methods in our schools. I understand there are over 80 sexually inappropriate books that are being offered to children in Francis Howell libraries and secret classroom shelves. I have read 4 of these books, which contain graphic stories and implicit topics including sexual immorality, lust and rape, incest and pedophilia, homosexuality and cross-dressing contrary to nature, drug use, and vulgar and racist language on par with the most evil of thoughts. I've spoken with several parents both in and outside the district, as well as non-parent Francis Howell taxpayers about the sexually inappropriate and perversive literature in Francis Howell school libraries, classrooms, and the curriculum. I've received responses of shock, dismay, and anger about this reality in St. Charles County. Francis Howell school employees and the school board are in violation of some state statutes, 1573.040, and district policies themselves, policy 6116, for distributing sexually obscene materials in libraries and classrooms. There are serious problems that taxpayers would find disturbing and would not want to hear about before the next tax levy or bond issue request. Also, your lack of correcting these behaviors will surely support the demand for school vouchers, especially by Christian parents. I request that you please identify Francis Howell employees responsible for acquiring books for libraries and classrooms and provide appropriate training of the state laws and board policies regarding inappropriate sexual materials for minors, and provide staff with sensitivity training regarding the religious and cultural norms of our community. And I implore the Francis Howell School leadership to do the right thing, purge the Francis Howell educational system of these inappropriate materials quickly, and let our kids be kids in a safe and comfortable school environment. Protect their innocence, do not destroy it.
Thank you for your time. Up next is Jack Jarvis.
Hello everyone, my name is Jack Jarvis and I'm the president of Francis Howell Middle School Student Council. I'm joined today by Sai Nelakanti, our vice president. Thank you for taking the time to meet with us today. We're here to share some exciting details about Winterfest, Francis Howell Middle School's annual fundraiser to support students in need. Winterfest is a completely student-led and student-run event that brings our entire school community together to celebrate the winter season. It's not just about having fun, it's about the entire community coming together for a great cause. Admission to Winterfest is free for all Francis Howell School District families. The only thing we ask is that guests bring a food pantry item, which will help us give back to our community in a meaningful way. If you're wondering what Winterfest is like, we have had activities such as ring toss, shuffleboard, everyone's favorite garbage game, trash good ball, and many others. But this year, we're excited to introduce something completely new, a glow-in-the-dark putt-putt course, the first of its kind for Francis Howell Middle School. There will also be gift baskets, a silent auction, secret guest appearances, they're even kept secret from me, and of course, plenty of food and warm drinks to keep everyone cozy and energized throughout the night. We really hope the board can join us for this wonderful event. We had personal invitations ready for each of you, but I gave them to Mr. Stephen Blair. And as most can see, he handed them out already. On behalf of Francis Howell Middle School Student Council, thank you for giving us the opportunity to be here tonight to discuss Winterfest. Thank you for your time and have a great rest of your night.
Up next, we have Allison to come forward. Next speaker is Allison.
She couldn't make it. She's
Okay.
there.
Thank you for that. Next person, Amanda Harrison.
Good evening. My name is Amanda Harrison, and this is my 8th year teaching kindergarten at Independence Elementary. This is also the 3rd year sending my own children to these amazing schools that we call home each and every day. I have one child with me in kindergarten, and another one, my youngest, is in his first year at Hackman Early Childhood Center. My older son spent 2 years at Meadows, and I cannot express the amount of growth he made academically and socially. My youngest spends his entire day in the multi-age program at Hackman, where he receives speech services. Based on his IEP, these services will continue to the next school year. If these programs are cut, you are stripping the opportunity of these services for my child and many like him. Not only can I attest to what these programs mean for my own family, but from a teacher standpoint, where these children feed directly into my classroom. There are notable differences in the social and academic capabilities of these students that attend our early childhood programs versus those that have not. The past 3 years, kindergarten teachers have been required to complete comprehensive kindergarten readiness assessments on each of our students, assessments that take weeks. These reports are sent straight to DESE to communicate the readiness of all incoming kindergartners. Based on that data that I have personally reported in the last 3 years alone, it's clear that our early childhood programs are making a positive impact on their learning and giving these students the head start that they desperately need. The last point I'd like to make is about the value of this program. The argument towards early childhood and that it isn't required by the state and therefore should be entirely self-funded, I have to argue against that on the basis of the value that the full day program offers to this district. There are many things in the district that are not required, yet the district funds because of the value that they offer to our students. One example would be sports. We have some head football coaches in the district that receive on average $7,000 per year stipend pay to run these programs. This increasing the yearly salary of the coach, and their district funded retirement contribution as a result. This is entirely district funded, and there isn't even a question that the district will pay for that because of the value that the football program brings to the students in our district. Another example would be the district funded ACT for all juniors. This costs the district around $90,000 to $95,000 per year. This is a huge expense that is not required, yet the district pays it anyways because of the value that is seen to offering that opportunity to students. Kindergarten is also not required, yet entirely funded by the district, and it's not even questioned. The full-day program is valuable to the families that it serves, and the teachers and staff are some of the best around. My own children are guided with love and compassion, as well as taught age-appropriate curriculum. These teachers have dedicated decades of their lives to teaching our young children. I believe that these programs help to contribute making FHSD the top district in St. Charles County and one of the top in the state. The deficit that this program is running on is pretty minimal when you consider all of the other unrequired things that the district chooses to spend money on.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Thank you. Next up is Justine Glancy.
All right, good evening. All right, my name is Justine Glancy. I'm a parent of 4 children in the district. I'm here tonight to urge parents and this board to take a deeper look at what our kids are being exposed to in our schools. I encourage parents to be fully engaged, know what your children are doing, what resources they're using, and what they may encounter, both in person and digitally. That includes what's available in our school libraries. I'm also asking for full transparency from this board. On the district website under Learning Commons, parents can search library books and review policy and regulation 6341. I strongly encourage every parent to do that, and please opt in to notifications so you can see what your children are checking out. If something doesn't look right, you have every right to question or challenge it, and the board has a responsibility to clearly communicate what challenges are being made and how they're handled. There are books in both our middle and high schools that are not age appropriate, containing graphic, sexual, and violent content that would never be acceptable in any other setting involving minors. Why is it acceptable here? Protecting children should be at the center of every decision. Our district takes pride in excellence. Our high schools rank in the top 5% in our state. With that comes an obligation to safeguard students. I'm aware that some materials are under review, but those reviews are not visible, and they should be posted. Parents deserve transparency. The term censorship is used too loosely. I'm not calling for a ban. I'm asking for transparency and responsible labeling. If a book is written for adults, it should not be placed where minors can freely access it. That's not banning. It's establishing boundaries which parents rely on librarians, teachers, and administrators to uphold. I will not be dismissed or labeled simply for questioning whether certain award-winning books are appropriate for minors. Parents have every right to ask when content is graphic, sexual, or violent, and research shows the impact such content can have on developing minds. I also want to address the division on this board. Recently, I was labeled a conservative simply for expressing concerns about safety. This is not political. It is about right and wrong and modeling unity for our children. Finally, the Children's Internet Protection Act requires schools receiving federal funds to block minors from accessing harmful online content. If that standard applies to the internet, it is reasonable for parents to expect similar protections in our physical and digital libraries. It is time for unity, transparency, and action. Our children deserve better, and we can do better. Thank you, and go Vikings.
Thank you. Up next is Harry Harris.
Okay, thank you, board. Wanted to acknowledge the young man who came up here earlier because he did a great job, and I know it's not easy to come up here, especially at that age. So hopefully, if he plays this back, he'll hear that. I wanted to come tonight and say thank you for the introduction of a policy revision to address modeling respectful communication from board members. Recently, I and other community members have been made aware of a board member's efforts to participate in local radio interviews bashing the district, educators, and even students, once referring to them as, and I believe this is a quote, mush brains. This is extremely different behavior from the goals I just listened to at the beginning of this meeting, which included being an employer of choice for educators and that all members of our community feel safe and welcomed. I do not understand a desire to serve on a board and bully our staff and students at the same time. The concept that we've heard of, this one Howell, does not include harming or speaking down to our educators. I hope that would extend to any future board candidates as well. We know it takes a village, and I encourage our administrators and board to step up when staff are bullied and made to feel less than by any board member. To this end, I'd ask that our board enforce the policy we have and work to make sure that this behavior stops. And I also want to take a minute to address this whole book thing. I understand being concerned for what our kids see. I have a child in the district. I've been here the whole time since he's been in kindergarten. Our children get exposed to a lot of things. But the one thing I've always felt is that when my child went to school, he was getting the best education he could. That he was being protected by those folks who were in that building. I have met and become friends with so many educators who have done nothing but really look out for him and his best interest. And not once did I think that one of them pulled in some sort of pornography. They have had so many books, and trust me, this kid is not a reader. And they've helped him grow. They've helped him learn those skills. And we've gotten this far because of those folks. And we can't continue to belittle them and talk bad about them. And I have to say, the books that I have seen, while yes, they do have real life situations in them, they are not harming our children. Now you can have an opinion on that, and that is fine. You can go through all the steps if you have an issue with a book. But we've got to quit belittling our educators. Thank you.
Thank you. Sarah Simpson.
Hello, I'm Sarah Simpson. Thank you for your time today. I'm here to talk about the full-time early childhood program. My son graduated from Hackman Early Childhood Center in May. As you can see, I'm smiling because I'm just so proud. But I'm out of the preschool game. I came here because I believe in it. I want to see it sustained for the kids that come after mine. It was such an amazing, enriching program for my son, and it got us into the district at the ground level. I hope that you consider that, you know, when parents have to go to a private preschool, sometimes they may not come back. They may decide that this is the school where we've established ourselves in, and here's where we want to stay. I also came because Hackman became a community, a family. The other women there's parents here that also didn't speak, and we've all become a little friend group outside of Hackman. Like I said, my son's graduated, but we still stay in touch with these families. So it's also built a community. So my pre-prepared thoughts, I'm talking about early childhood, but what I'm really going to go into is kindergarten. So today is roughly, give or take a half day here and there, the 60th day of school. In those 60 days, my 5-year-old has been taught to read, to understand plural nouns and verbs, identify parts of a book, the setting, main characters, table of contents. He's learned to look for context clues for comprehension and how to glean information from a nonfiction book. He knows how to write his full name with upper and lowercase letters. He's able to write a full sentence. He is learning addition and subtraction in kindergarten. He's expected to count to 100 by the end of the school year, which he can already do. And that's not necessarily a brag on me, it's a brag on our early childhood program. We even have homework. The expectations set for these kindergartners are very high, and the curriculum moves very quickly. All of the things I stated, the first 60 days of kindergarten. It's been overwhelming for me just as a parent. The full-day preschool program ensures that these kids are able to meet these expectations that are set for them. My son and many of his friends from Hackman are excelling in kindergarten. They already know how to follow routines, sit still for periods of time, follow directions, how to resolve conflict, how to be a friend, how to be part of a community, how to hold scissors and a pencil, how to recognize letters and their sound, to write their name. When they arrive at elementary school, the baseline has been set academically and socially.
Thank you. At this time, we welcome FHEA for comments.
Read through this. Good evening. My name is Francine Hill, and I am the president of FHEA. Thanksgiving is just a week away, and we want to be sure to thank all our teachers and support staff for all their hard work. FHEA is thankful for all of you. We know it has been a very difficult start to the year, especially for many of our special education teachers. Many of our building administrators do a great job of supporting their teachers. But with so many new administrators and special education teachers, some buildings are struggling. FHE is working with some of our special education teachers and administration to help these buildings. We appreciate the support from the district in trying to problem solve some of these issues, but our teachers need action on these issues. It is our goal to ensure that all teachers and students are in safe, engaging environments for teaching and learning. The path to this is providing the support for both teachers and students to develop plans that help with behaviors. Providing this support to our teachers is one way we can try to improve retention. FHEA wants to recognize all the extra time and work our teachers have put into the implementation of our new resource and testing in elementary schools. This extra time is after contract hours that takes away time from their own families and livelihood. They have also shown great creativity in scheduling with the new MTSS schedule. We're sure everyone is looking forward to Thanksgiving break and time to recharge with family and friends. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we welcome FISPA for comments.
Good evening, President Blair. My name is Heidi Nixon. I'm the FISPA Vice President for Technicians. I must remind all staff that the Workplace Culture Survey closes tomorrow. Your input is invaluable. As our negotiation teams prepare to enter discussions, comprehensive data outlining staff experiences and concerns will directly inform administration and pave the way to more equitable and meaningful resolutions. In our spotlight this month, special education paraprofessionals. Our special education paraprofessionals play an essential role. We need to align their compensation with their immense contributions. Did you know that these professionals perform duties that are not merely supportive, but are foundational to the well-being and education of our most vulnerable students? From early childhood through high school, their responsibilities include deeply personal care, assisting with feeding, toileting, and managing other significant physical needs. Furthermore, they operate in a physically and emotionally demanding environment. They routinely endure challenging behaviors that, while stemming from disability and not malicious intent, often involve the risk of major aggression, including being struck, kicked, bit, and other forms of physical violence. This is work that requires unwavering dedication, skill, and profound compassion. With this high-risk, high-stress labor, we must acknowledge a significant issue. Our paraprofessionals are grossly underpaid with an average wage of approximately $17 per hour. Special education paras are routinely scheduled for 6 hours and 50 minutes per day, totaling only 34 hours and 10 minutes per week. This matters because even a seemingly generous $1 per hour raise ends up being equal to giving a staff member working 40 hours per week only 85 cents. Given their complex and demanding roles, an average wage of approximately $17 per hour is inadequate. This isn't only about fairness. It is a matter of valuing human dignity and ensuring that our school system remains compassionate and highly effective. We must recognize the critical, challenging nature of their work and compensate our special education paraprofessionals in a manner that truly reflects their worth. With only 3 instructional days remaining until the Thanksgiving holiday, we wish everyone a restful and enjoyable break. Thank you.
Thank you. The board have a motion to approve the consent agenda for November 20th, 2025 as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Director Pushkar, second by Director Ponder. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes. Board, I'd like to motion to approve the financial report as presented.
So moved.
Director Pushkar for the motion, second by Director Ponder. At this time, I'd like to invite Dr. Amy St. John to present.
Good evening. Thank you for having me to provide the finance and operations update for November 20th, 2025. During the presentation, this will be the first month that you will see a budget amendment and transfer, which is normal for this time of year. Once the allocations for most of our federal programs come in and get settled, to go back a notch. So when you end the school year and you approve the budget for the upcoming school year, you oftentimes just end where you were at and you build the next year's budget until you see those allocations in the fall. So then once you get to the fall and then the directors have a chance to make those adjustments, then that's when you would come to the board and say, we're going to move some things around. So it's not like a major change, it's just a sort of a reallocation of those funds. Oh, we're going to boot again. So you can imagine what my charts look like right now. I think they're being a little finicky today, aren't they? When you're reading this screen, you have at the top box the revenue, and you have it broken down by fund. And then you can see the line that just indicates what has been changed for November. And it's a good idea for you just to kind of have an eye for reading that across. So from Fund 1, moving some of the funds from that to Fund 2. As you might remember, Fund 1 is the fund that would pay for support staff, supplies, purchase services, where Fund 2 is known as the Teachers Fund. Nothing major has changed in that, except for just, as I mentioned before, just kind of resetting that after the year gets started. The Debt Service Fund in Fund 30 is just a slight decrease, again, based upon newest information. And that carries out for a sum total change of an increase of $245,000, and $245,305 is the number. Sorry, it's a little distracting. Do you want me to wait or keep going?
You could use more hand gestures.
Okay,
maybe mime it a little
act
bit.
out my spreadsheet.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. Fewer questions if I have no screen, I guess, to look at. With the expenditures, what you see is a major difference is a $20 million expenditure, and that's really paying for some of those projects that we just finished up over the summer, and so that's why you see such a large number there. The next couple slides do provide a bit more detail for that same amount that I just shared, so that $245,305 is broken down. You can see interest came in a little higher than what we had budgeted for. The county stock insurance came in a little less than what we had budgeted for. And then, as I mentioned, some of those title changes that had come in with the final allocations, and it's oftentimes moving those numbers around. One of the questions that had come in is asking if our federal funds were decreasing, and they have seen a slight decrease over the last 3 years. And that's nothing that we can control. It's based on census data of our population, and it's just an allocation that's provided to it. So it has no correlation to any of the other changes that you might have heard that are happening with the federal Department of Education. In the next slide with the expenditures, what you see there is really, again, just some alignment, moving some things around in order to put them in the best place. So like when you see that first one, alignment based upon the Title I, so as that funding comes in and then those decisions are made, it's just updating those fields in the budget. some increases just based upon when you start to pro forma out what those numbers might look like for the entire school year, and we noticed that we're running hot or trending up, and so we'll just make those adjustments and bring those to you on the amendments that we would bring. Then I have the trajectory chart that you're used to seeing, and with those changes, we are still in the 27.5.9% fund balance projection for the end of the year. So again, that middle column, the green column, is the year that we are living. And then I have the area there on the right side is just to show you again some of those assumptions that we have in the budget as we move forward. And we go into what we would look at building the next school year's budget, and these are the pieces that as new information comes in, we would be updating it, but this is the assumptions of a 2% increase with that local tax, a flat state adequacy target, gross pay being a change of the overall salary amount by 3%, and then benefits at 8%, and then this still includes the $5 million transfer to capital to cover some of those maintenance items that we have each year. But of course, that's something that we would make a decision on toward the end of the year to continue that process. This is the same information shown to you in a chart format. Again, not to show doom and gloom, but just to give you an idea with those assumptions being made with the conservative revenues and sort of as best guess we can today for our expenditures, it would still be that downtrend. Putting us just under the board policy of 15% in this. But again, we update this each month and keep track of that. With the bond financials, those also get updated as, again, those things are getting paid for. Not much change, the remaining and not started still setting at about $600,000. And that information would be used, or that dollar figure would be used to pay for the arbitrage payment. You might remember that in prior months where I explained if the earnings on those bond dollars is higher than expected, then you have to pay that money back to that fund through what's called an arbitrage payment. This is the self-insurance fund, and this is we have an ongoing employee insurance committee working through this in great detail, and this is its rolled up version. But what you might notice is if you look at the total revenue in the top portion there, you will see that we are down 12% from the prior year at the same time, and the expenditures are up 22%, 22.95%. So that employee insurance committee is really looking to break down those expenses and better understand each one of those and kind of what is trending higher. Medical is trending higher, pharmacy is trending higher than it was a year ago, and really understanding each of the things that pull that together, making those decisions that we would be looking at as the MMA brings us what we expect the next year's benefit increase to look like. This is the same page as before. We haven't had much change since last month. As I mentioned last month, there has been the lawsuit that has been filed. And as the new information is shared with that, I'll bring in and update these slides, but I wanted to make sure that we keep that in front of everyone, just understanding that that's still on the horizon for April of 2026. And then the next two slides just show what that effect would look like. Again, with that decrease of $4 million based upon the current state with the updated 27.59, that would bring it down to the 6.55%. And then this would include the House Joint Resolution effect. What I think I might do starting next month is also include what this could start to look like if that debt service transfer were to occur that we talked about at the work session, as I think that might kind of give us another lens to that information. So that would be in April of 2027, and then what that would look like as we would potentially have that additional $5.5 million in the operating budget. In the month of November, you're going to hear from Saloon Setzer soon about construction projects and the things that have gone on, and he's very excited to share, so I don't want to steal any of that thunder. We had an amazing work session in the early part of November regarding the facility master plan and demographic study, and expecting to see that final and full report in January. The safety update is that we were able to offer to Harvest Ridge Elementary a new SRO officer, and we're very excited about that. We wrapped up the Director of Transportation interviews, and that will be announced officially tomorrow in terms of being able to, who will be joining our team. We're very excited about that. Nutrition Services is excited about the staffing levels. As you might have heard, that's been something that we've struggled with in that area as well. And we've done, Lisa and her team have done a nice job pushing that information out and getting a few more folks in that area. And then the Wellness Committee met on November 10th, and that is to take a proactive approach to the insurance costs that are rising. So it's not necessarily a one-to-one fix, but it's definitely us looking at the data as to some of the highest areas of claim in our insurance and really starting to work on things that could help prevent some of the illnesses and the medications that are needed. And so that's what the wellness team is starting to look at. We're very excited about the plans. We'll be rolling out from January to June, we'll be rolling out some events and some challenges and some fun incentives that we'll be able to offer. That is fully funded with Cigna funds that come back to the district. There's $150,000 that comes back to the district intentionally to put into wellness education. So that's the funding that we'll be using. There's no additional cost to the district. Had a chance to work with Jen Joles and the PTO President Forum, and it was wonderful to get to visit with them about purchasing, fundraising, and advertising. They do such amazing work in our schools and really looking for ways to assist our buildings and that. I described it as I would be the mom, they would be the fun aunt, and then they would get to pick and do all the fun things for the building. And they thought that was pretty fun. So just looking for ways to partner and additional revenues that can come into the district to help take care of things is really something that we're pretty excited about. We also wrapped up, the Director of Finance, Julie Walsh, and myself met with each and every building principal and the Finance AA to discuss purchasing, cash handling procedures, and internal controls, and ensuring that they are monitoring their budgets at the highest level to ensure the fiduciary duty that we all hold in making sure that we're spending the dollars as accurately as we can. And then a look ahead, as I mentioned, the onboarding of the Director of Transportation. We wrapped up the USDA audit just today. We were able to have that at Independence, Sager, and Francis Howell North, and I'm happy to say that we had 0 findings at the first pass of it. We'll have a full report, yes, coming to us probably in late January or early February, and so I'll bring that at that point, but exciting and appreciate all the help from all the buildings and Marilyn Colvin as she led that work. The safety visitor management system implementation, you will see a full report of how that will get rolled out to our buildings in the spring. And so that'll come to you in January so that you'll understand kind of what's going to happen in each of the buildings. And again, it's just for that entry portion, going in and out of our buildings and scanning and getting a visitor badge. Those capital requests are starting to come in, and Saloom is working with the buildings and making sure that they have what they need in terms of those areas. And then the Director of Technology and myself and Glenn have been working on what does the next 5 years really look like in the area of technology and for our students, and where the devices are, and what we believe from the curriculum department and the assessment area, really just making sure what did the buildings think that could look like. And so we're working on a team to bring that together. And then again, as I mentioned, the Employee Insurance Committee work, it's a real deep dive. I try to make it as fun as possible, but it's heavy work, it's difficult work, and I just appreciate all that have worked with me to do that. So with that, do you have any questions?
I do. With the Raptor system, I've seen this because it's I believe it's in Parkway. I think that's what they're using. It's pretty cool, actually, when it works. For my badges, just usually have coffee stained on it. And okay. Anyway, employees are not required to use personal devices with it, are they?
No, employees will just use their badge to scan in. And so right now we have fobs, and we'll move to badging. Same technology, just so you'll have a picture ID, and we'll be scanning that. The outside friends and visitors will go through the Raptor system, so not the employees.
Thank you.
Good question.
Any other questions? I wanted to call out, I've been doing this each month. We have about 800 or so people who watch and view this afterwards. And for those 800 people who are watching and those who are here as well, Senate Bill 3 is on the ballot in April. And what it does, it freezes a person's property tax, the assessment of their property as of September 2024. And therefore, while their house might inflate in price, they lock in whatever they are paying. The result of that is that the entities that use property tax, schools, ambulances, fire, libraries, and the Development Disability Board, all of them would be negatively impacted. Can you speak about, just the clarity of what $4 million is? That's the number most recently shared. What a $4 million damage or decrease of funding to our district might result in for the first year?
And this is a difficult response because I would not want to create fear or scare folks in terms of saying certain things and how much they cost. But let me tell it in a more proactive approach so that we don't think of it as cuts, but maybe freezing us in the future. So moving on, the salary schedule for the teacher salary schedule is in the neighborhood of about $2.5 million for just that 3% change. And so if you didn't have that new money coming into the formula, you would have to think about what you would be able to afford moving forward. Because the same dollars, in essence, would come in, it's just you wouldn't have those future dollars based upon those changes going forward. And so I think that's when you would start to then ask more critical questions of if things need to be reviewed or shored up in that. But that's just a good way of thinking of it.
Yeah, I just wanted to call out, thank you for sharing that. In November, we had a work session where we had a special moment where we approved the purchase of smart screens as part of our budget. But by doing it a couple of weeks early, we were able to save the district $6,000. And for the board, we are impressed by the ability for all the administration to be looking at those purchases, even at that level, on how we can save $6,000. And for everybody watching, we are paying attention to the small things too. And to be saving $6,000 in one place, and then to prepare to possibly lose $4 million in funding on year one, in year 5, a $20 million loss in funding.
Right.
Senate Bill 3 isn't just one of those, it doesn't matter if it passes or, it's six one hand, half dozen in the other. It is a destroyer of school budgets. And while the administration cannot share opinions on it, you can just share the information. The board members can. And I want to make sure everybody who's listening understands that this is not a red thing or a blue thing. It's just a green thing. And we are thankful for your information, the transparency on a monthly basis that you share this piece. And I just wanted to make sure we name that clearly for anybody paying attention, not just for the small things, but what could be a destructive force for any school district. So.
And I would tag into that just real quick. Next month, I do hope to also bring to show you the effect of Senate Bill 190, which was the senior citizen version that was similar to this, so it freezes their property tax in time. And so you may have heard some of that information in the St. Louis County. They had their information a little sooner. We're expected to see ours in December and be able to sum total that and give an explanation of kind of what that looks like. But in essence, that also gives us a peek into the future as to what would the decrease look like into the operating budget.
I appreciate that. Other board comments?
Yeah, I wanted to compliment you on following up with on the state audit item that didn't treat us so friendly about the purchasing cash.
Very specifically, yes.
Yes, I had been asking for a while for, where we were at on that, whether or not, so. Thank
we
you very
expect
much.
to have a full closure of that report also in December, according to the conversation I have with the auditor. They've been really amazing to work with, and then anything we can proactively work into the work that we're doing right now, that's exactly what we're doing. Yeah. So if they're coming back with things that, again, could shore up things or make it more streamlined, that's what we're working on.
So I also had a question about the Employee Insurance Committee. As you know, in the past, there's been a disconnect or a time lapse between the time that the the bills are received and when we are finally told how much we've had to pay because of the reporting systems that they have. I assume that's still an issue.
Still a lag, about 2
Okay,
months.
still lag, okay. And you talked about doing a deep dive. Now, I know when, your predecessor was here, she kind of had, every once in a while, she'd mentioned that, yeah, we think it's because maybe we've had some people that have been super sick and that have increased the cost and are other reasons. Is there any preliminary idea of what these costs are?
That's a great question. We will have a full report. Actually, I have one in the morning where it's going to go over the whole prior year. And that information will then go to the committee in the December meeting. And so I expect by next month that this report, I'll be able to give a little bit further. But just in the first piece of it, really the deep dive I'm talking about is really just understanding is we offer benefits to our employees, and some are things that are you have to do and some are things you don't always have to do. It's just what we do. And so it's really helping the team to understand that and have context for that before we ever have to make any sort of recommendation or decision. We just want to understand the current reality of where we are and how much things cost. And then really looking into what are fixed costs and variable costs so that we can make informed decisions. So we've just been working on scaffolding that up for the team, and then once more of that information comes in, we'll be teed up and ready to go for making it kind of all pieced together.
Okay.
So yeah, good
Thank you
question.
so much.
Yeah.
Anything else, board? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion passes. Board, I'd like to motion to approve the purchases as presented. Director Pushkar first, second by Director Ponder. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion passes. Motion to accept the $20,000 donation to the Daniel Boone Elementary from the Bustiker family as presented. Motion by Director Pushkar, seconded by Director Ponder. Any comments?
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. Thank you very much to, I hope I say their name right, the Bustiker family. Thank you very much. With that donation, where does it go? What fund does it go in? How do we use that money?
So it was strictly stated that it could only be used at that elementary. I forgot her first name. She asked us to put it with special education students only. She had served as a para for special education for a good amount of time. And so working with the team there, actually they have come up with ideas that would best serve their students in that special education area.
Awesome.
And before we vote, I want to take a moment to share a little bit about the amazing human and family behind this generous donation to Daniel Boone Elementary. Mabel Bustiker dedicated a great deal of her life to education and to the children of our community. She began her teaching career at Capellan School, a one-room schoolhouse in Capellan, and later served for 20 years as a para-educator at Daniel Boone Elementary, retiring at the age of 70. She also substitute taught at both Daniel Boone and Francis Howell High School in the 1960s. Her 4 children and 2 of her grandchildren attend Daniel Boone. Mabel was a lifelong member of St. John's United Church of Christ and a 4-H project leader for more than 40 years. She actively supported her family's farming operation and was an amazing cook. She was known for her warm rice pudding that she would bring to the monthly staff meeting at Daniel Boone. Mabel enjoyed piecing quilts and wall hangings. People who knew Mabel said that when you were lucky enough to be with her, she made you feel as if you were the most important person in the world. She was warm and kind. She was always teaching you a lesson while embracing you with stories of her childhood. Mabel passed away nearly 2 years ago at the age of 96. She spent her life in service to her family, her church, and her community. And in her honor, the Bustiker family has chosen to make a meaningful donation to Daniel Boone Elementary. We are grateful for Mabel's impact on our community and for the entire Bustiker family for making this generous donation so that Mabel's legacy lives on. Is there somebody from the Bustiker family here? I received different. We will find a way to, again, continue to thank them for living out Mabel's memory in this way. And while the family is not here to hear it, I feel compelled to have a round of applause for Mabel Bustiker. Thank you all. Oh, and now, so a motion has been motioned and seconded. All in favor of accepting this donation, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion passes. All right, a motion to approve the summer school proposal as presented. Director Pushkar with the motion, second by Director Ponder. Invite Francis Howell Union Principal Brian Thompson to present.
Thank you, Board of Education. Excited to be here again tonight. This time to present our summer school proposal that Dr. Garland and I have been preparing for the last couple of weeks. Much like this year, much like many years in the past, the district is very proud to announce one of the most robust summer programs not only in the local region, but across the state. Tonight, I'll share with you our offerings from elementary through high school, including our interventions, enrichment camps, credit recovery, as well as credit advancement opportunities. You see here on the screen a listing each of the programs that I'm going to cover in more detail on the upcoming slides. We anticipate being able to hold our summer school program entirely in June this year instead of overlapping the July month, with it starting the first week of June, ending 4 weeks later until June 26th. However, we do have to monitor the weather and the number of snow days we use as we progress throughout the school year, and we may have to modify this slightly as the year comes to an end, and we'll make a finalized plan sometime after January. We know how many snow days have been used. I'd like to begin by highlighting the summer school programs planned for our elementary students. This year, we'll continue to offer Elementary Summer Success Program. It'll focus on targeted reading intervention hosted at Becky David Elementary. Last year, the program was housed at a single site, and doing so showed many positive results. We plan to continue that same format in the upcoming school year. And I'm also really thrilled to announce we're going to offer the same camps this summer that we have in the past. However, by offering them at Fairmont, we anticipate being able to facilitate more students than we have previously. You can see there's a tremendous array of opportunities that meet the students' needs in our communities and a wide array of student interest. These camps have always been very popular, and we're excited to provide even more enriching opportunities for the students and families in our community. For middle school, we'll continue to offer the Middle School Summer Success Program, providing students with targeted interventions in both reading and mathematics. In addition to those core subjects, the students enrolled in the program will also have the opportunity to participate in PE and other elective courses throughout the day. And this year, that program is planned to be housed at Francis Howell North High School, running those same dates from June 1st to June 26th. Middle school students will also have the opportunity to participate in enrichment camps, in the STEM camp, app camp, theater, and biomedical camps. Our biomed camp will run for, we'll offer for 2 weeks. The theater camp will span for 4, and the STEM and app camp will run for 3 weeks. At the high school level, we're going to offer similar programs that we have in years past. The high school program will run concurrently with the middle school program and housed at Francis Howell North High School. On the left, you'll see our high school summer success program, where we offer credit recovery for students who have previously failed those courses. In doing so, the program is broken up into 2 different sessions, 20 days total, 10 days for first semester, 10 days for second semester, allowing students to recover the credits from those courses. We'll also be running an opportunity to give our students opportunity to earn a full credit of credit advancement. Students will be attending during the same session, but offering courses that they might advance for their coursework. In addition to that, in July, we'll be offering an opportunity for students to take credit advancement through the Springfield Launch Program. Last year, we had about 900 students who participated in that in the district. And our intention to offering both sessions is to provide an opportunity for flexible needs for the families in our community. Finally, on the far right, in addition to the credit recovery and credit advancement, we'll once again offer a Running Start program for students who have been identified in 8th grade by their middle school teachers, counselors, and administrators as needing a head start and jumping into high school. And lastly, students participating in the early college program can take up to 2 classes towards their college degree. In recent years, we've seen that program grow and hope to see that it advances even more in this upcoming year. At just over $1.9 million, it does take quite a bit of money to make all of this happen. However, we were able to submit the average daily attendance minutes to DESE for reimbursement for those programs. And by looking at the historical attendance and enrollment data and making projections based on that, our revenue should be slightly above that amount. Our staffing will account for the significant portion of this budget at just under $1.3 million, followed by supplies, which does include the cost of virtual programming from other vendors. And then after that will be our transportation expenses at the lowest amount. In years past and in this year, we budget conservatively and will monitor that budget as we progress throughout the summer, ensuring that the ideal goal will be at worst a break even, but in years past, we've actually made a profit through offering our summer school programs. And as you can see, our anticipated revenue this year is just slightly under $16,000. With that, thanking you for giving me a bit of time to present our summer school proposal, and I'm happy to answer any questions that the board might have.
Any questions, board?
None?
No, just a great presentation.
It sounds
Well, how about that?
Yeah, we answered all the questions, so. All right. Okay, so board, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now, at this time, we'd like to invite our Executive Director of Facilities and Operations, Saloon Stutzer, to present our construction update.
Much. Better. Good evening, board, and again, thank you for the opportunity to provide our quarterly update on district construction and facility initiatives. The updates you'll see this evening, excuse me, continue to demonstrate our commitment to transparency, responsible stewardship, and the successful delivery of projects that directly support district's vision and strategic plan. Each milestone you'll see this evening reflects our ongoing work to ensure that our facilities align with instructional needs, operational priorities, and long-term community expectations. So with that, I'll go ahead and jump right into the presentation. We will start over at Fairmount. And again, just a reminder, each one of the projects will have a 4-slide, what I call it, that really marks the timeline in terms of the process we took to get to where we are with the milestones that we'll talk about here this evening. So over at Henderson, as you recall, I think the last time I presented, the storm shelter addition was complete. Students were in. The gym lagged behind just due to a lot of things outside of our control, weather, relocating of underground utilities. And that's the gym today, okay? So over fall break, we turned that over to the building for use, and just always want to take the board back in time a little bit in terms of why the need. If you recall, Henderson was really our last school that had what I term a gym cafetorium. So students would pick up their food in the kitchen, which was attached to the gym, but they'd walk all the way down to the multi-purpose room, eat there, walk all the way back, turn in their trays, because we needed the gym for instructional time. So now they have dedicated spaces that those functions take place in, and also frees up the gym, the cafeteria, I should say, when it's not on the lunch schedule to host events. I believe they hosted a nice event in there on Veterans Day. So this is the product, as you see. This was about a couple of weeks ago. Instructors in there, the teachers are able to set up in the morning and board the night before and be able to leave their items up to be ready for students. That wasn't possible before, so I believe students have actually gained instructional minutes, specifically on PE and health. We'll move over to Fairmount. Again, here's the timeline. I won't spend too much time on that, but just want to point out that this is another project where permitting and weather was really a challenge. We got a really late start, and here's where we're at today. Just articulate that the exterior masonry is almost complete. In fact, they were taking down their scaffolding equipment. Roof is watertight. If you look there on the parapet roof walls, there is some metal coping that still needs to be installed. And I believe that is we had a progress meeting this week. That's going to take place next week, weather dependent. All of the windows for the facility, they're again storm rated windows. Those are installed. We're going to leave the door openings open right now. As you see on the interior, the masons are still working on laying the interior CMU walls that will make up all the spaces inside. Plumbers have all their rough-in for the art room, classrooms, as well as the restrooms that will serve this facility. All of that work's ongoing. So we're leaving the door openings, the exterior door openings open. Here pretty soon we'll install plywood. We're still running a lot of masonry block materials, forklifts, and we really don't want to damage those. Those have a special rating for the storm shelter, and if we were to damage one of those, it'd be a really long lead item to get one replaced. So that's where we're at. Again, we anticipate turning this space over, or at least completing it around spring break of 2026. In visiting with the building leader, we will wait to transition the folks that will occupy that space until at the end of the academic school year, just to minimize disruptions for instruction. Transportation fuel island, a lot of progress has taken place there over the last several weeks. The building is for the most part dried in, and here on the left slide you can see that we've again plywooded the garage door openings as well as exterior doors. Again, we're still moving heavy equipment in and out to perform the scopes of work on the inside. So as that tapers off and the work really boils down to finish work, those doors will get installed just to protect and minimize damage. The little rain that we did receive here over the last couple of days, we were supposed to start grading. We've done some rough grading here on what would be the north side where we need to pour concrete. We're going to try to schedule that for that first week of December, allow that to dry up. But also on the right side, you can see the canopy was erected. The state inspector did come out to inspect all of the underground fuel tanks, so we backfilled. And just to sequence activities, we're going to pour the concrete for the fuel island pavement, as well as what's left around the new building, all at the same time. This is still at transportation. One of the requirements from the county as well as the Missouri Department of Natural Resources with the development of that building, we needed to enlarge the stormwater detention bay that is on the north. It doesn't look like much, but there was 10 trucks that ran 8 hours a day and hauled out about 400 truckloads of dirt out of that detention basin to be able to enlarge that to collect the stormwater from the site and all the pavement work that we've done. Middle slide there, you can start seeing finishes go up in the restroom. They're finishing that work, and the crew that's doing the tile work will transition to the locker rooms. Floor work will start with resinous flooring in those spaces. Probably sometime next week. Obviously, it's a short week with Thanksgiving, so we're hoping that we can get some real good production on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. Then the last picture there is the inside of the bus maintenance facility, at least a portion of it. The one wall there where drywall has already been installed. The other side of that is where the wash bay for the buses is. There's actually crews in there that are installing the bus wash system. And then the alternate bay that the board had approved as an alternate on this project with future expansion to relocate the facilities department to the same site. There's also work taking place in there in terms of electrical and other above ceiling work. Over at Francis Howell High, this is the wrestling storm shelter addition. It's actually wrestling and multi-purpose because it's going to serve multiple functions for that building. And they couldn't wait to get in there. This literally was getting in there to take pictures, to update the presentation, and mats were already down and the space was being utilized. So you can't see it on the left side of the screen, but there are 2 restrooms and a mechanical room that will serve that space. Staying at Francis Howell High, auditorium is complete there. The picture on the left represents what that space was before, and the picture on the right represents the complete finished space. And I think for those of us, including board members and any community members that have been in that space prior to, and hopefully will be there, or maybe have already been there. I know they hosted a band concert in there, I believe last Monday, or maybe this Monday. The feedback was the space was very well received. It was very conducive for all of the things that needed to be improved in there. One of the big things that, as we met with the building to develop the scope to bring forward to the board, was increasing the capacity. So prior to construction, the auditorium's capacity, and this factors in the broken seats, was about 225 occupants. And we were able to increase that to 396 with also being able to add ADA spaces for those that need accessibility accommodations for them to be a part of the environment there, which we lacked before. That was one of obviously the key components that we brought with the recommendation when we made it. And then all new lighting, new acoustical panels. We also, one of the items that needed to be replaced was the mechanical unit that served this system. This is the old part of Francis Howell, so it still had many of the original elements. And that unit was loud, and so when they did use the space, it was difficult to hear. So there's a much more modernized, efficient unit that now heats and cools that space appropriately. Again, this is the entry, what we call the pre-function area lobby to Francis Howell High. Image on the left represents what it was before. I know the picture looks pretty, but really when you walk through it, the place needed a lot of work, and the image on the right represents all the improvements. So flooring, lighting, trophy cases, display cases to be able to display many of the awards that they earn there and will earn moving forward for participants to see. And then the dreaded restrooms that I know many board members had also walked through, but those are also improved. Image on the left is before, and the right is their current status. Moving over to Francis Howell Central. Again, same story. Image on the left represents what we had before. You had the non-supporting columns on either side, and so as part of the scope, again, trying to maximize space, those were demoed, and expanded seating. And if my notes, believe before construction, we had a capacity of about 530, and with removing the columns and being able to expand out, we were able to increase capacity to 567. So pretty nice jump there that will be able to really facilitate that student body programming that will take place there. And then this is the lobby, again, very similar to Francis Howell, just modernizing those spaces with the auditorium work. And then this is the back of the house. These are the restrooms that, this is the restroom that serves the dressing rooms. Again, those needed to be modernized and cleaned up with the comprehensive work that took place. And then this is the makeup room. The image on the left there is before we started construction, and the lights there, they're not off, they're all out, and we couldn't source the parts to be able to make those work just because the light bulbs are obsolete. And as you see in the image on the right, it's a nice bright space for students to put makeup on and get dressed for their performances. And then Francis Howell Union, again, this was a project that we were hoping to get done over the summer, but again, with all of the other work that was taking place on that campus with the asphalt improvements, we had to really sequence activities. That was a busy campus, if you recall. We had the track improvements that were part of capital, and then this was a bond project. And then you had the addition for the wrestling storm shelter, and then the auditorium. So it was a happening campus, so we had to sequence this work a little bit later, and we also had some additional asbestos remediation in that building that we needed to abate and properly dispose of. So image on the left there was probably, they made quick work of it about a month ago. And on the right, they've got the building down. They're really hauling out remaining debris. I will point out that there were some tunnels that were found that took a little bit longer, and then where the mechanical room was, the footings were deeper. So as we've backfilled, we're actually short on dirt. So we're kind of reviewing what we need to do to raise that elevation, and we'll bring the appropriate recommendation to the board.
What kind of tunnels?
The tunnels really allowed for people, mechanical systems, piping that went from one end of the building to the other. There was a chase where all that infrastructure ran that we didn't know it ran all the way across to the other side of the building. And so that was unknown, and we weren't going to see it until the building was pretty much down. So we discovered it when we were demoing all the concrete footings for the building.
Maybe we should have saved some of that dirt from the retention pond. Huh?
I'm glad you brought that up because of sequencing and the need to be able to get paving done, and also get all of the plantings that are required to go in that detention pond. Obviously, fall is the optimum time for growth, and those plantings are really key in terms of what Missouri Department of Natural Resources requires. We couldn't wait because of sequencing, but yes, I would have loved to have had that dirt, because I'm not looking forward to bringing a recommendation to the board to add dirt to it. So, and then this is phase 2 mechanical. Again, that work hasn't started. The board has approved that contract. It was awarded to Daikin TMI. They've gone through during fall break, and this is on my narrated, typed out report. They did kind of pre-inspections of all of these facilities that are part of phase 2, started looking in the ceilings to see what they need to do to develop a schedule that we can have, and start engaging with building leaders to set expectations and what their role will be as we start developing a schedule for this summer's work. We do have a meeting on, I believe, December 9th with the entire team to start cleaning up that schedule, if you will, or I should say developing that for the purpose of having those kickoff meetings with building leaders. So hope at the next quarterly meeting I'll be able to provide kind of an update on where that schedule sits. What I can tell you is the equipment's been ordered because of long lead times. I think lead times jumped up probably about a 6-month lead time, so that's why we brought that recommendation to the board for approval. That way we can have the equipment here, hopefully early spring, and in town, ready to be installed as soon as demo of the old equipment is complete. So I'll transition over to regular capital here. Really the biggest thing that still was left to share is the track. If you recall, we brought a capital budget recommendation to the board, I think March of 2025, is to replace the track at Francis Howell High. You can't quite see it, or I think you should be able to see it, but the 2 images there, that track was, for the most part, it was original but had been recoated several times, but the base had really started deteriorating, which has created the rubber separating there. So creating just trip hazards and unsafe conditions for students as they participate on that surface. Image on the right is the completed track. As you see, there's no cracks. And then the only thing that we have pending from a project standpoint is the installation of, or the replacement, demo and replacement of gym bleachers at Sager and Hollenbeck. Again, those were ordered, but we're starting to see some manufacturing delays with some components. Initially, this was supposed to be fall break work, but now it's going to be more over the winter recess break. We'll do the demo, and we'll work with the building leaders to hopefully carve some time there in early January where the install can take place. The install will probably take about 4 or 5 days a site. And so we'll coordinate that as we have final confirmation from the manufacturer on when they're shipping those. So outside of that, that is all I have. I'll be happy to take any questions the board may have.
Board, any questions? I wanted to thank you for your work, because not only are you adding these construction projects, you also oversee the maintenance of 2.9 million square feet of space as well. So thank you for all the hard work, both maintaining and extending. I do want to point out that in the picture of the FHC bathroom, somebody left the toilet seat up. And we all saw it.
We all saw it. All right.
Thank you for your work today.
All right. Thank you, President Blair.
All right, board. The policies and regulations that are before you, we have it partitioned 11A. These will be brought back for a second read and vote at the December 11th, 2025 board meeting. While we will vote on this in December, board, is there any comment, anything you want to share? Okay.
A little history or a little introduction on the P0340?
Say that again, for which number?
P0340.
That'll be the next one. So this is on 11. No, good question. This is on 11A. Yeah, so the ones on 11A that will be brought for second reading and vote. Those are initiated by our regular review of policies to make sure everything is up to date. Policy writing resource takes care of that for us. All right, so 12A refers to 0340. Treasurer Owens is bringing this forward for a first reading. It will be brought back to the December 11th, 2005 board meeting for a second read and vote. It has been reviewed by Policy Committee and Legal. So any discussion? So Director Harmon.
No, I was hoping Kara Lee would give a little intro on it.
Okay. Well, I had myself thought, and some other, some district patrons had reached out to me, and they thought that the policy lacked any teeth, that there were no consequences for bad behavior. And, you know, our students have to follow a code of conduct, and there are consequences for that. So I think we should be setting the example and be responsible for our actions. If we do something we shouldn't do, that we would have consequences also. And then I also researched and found that this is in place all across the United States in board policy. And it actually went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court upheld that school boards can have policy that censures members for bad behavior. So who determines belittling, shaming, rude, disrespectful, or inaccurate?
Who does that? The board, based on.
The board.
That's what's written into the policy.
Okay, and so you have a bunch of consequences. So we'd have to agree on that. Just a majority?
I think the other examples do use a board majority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's the appeal process? I mean, I think every criminal in this country gets an appeal. Where's the appeal process? Appeal for apology? I don't know. Well, I mean, okay, so these words, belittling, shaming, rude, disrespectful, mean different things to different people. You have different tolerances. Well, then we'd have to agree whether we thought those things did happen. Okay? That's why one person would not be determining it. Right.
Or inaccurate would be another.
What?
Inaccurate. I mean, belittling, shaming, rude, disrespectful, and inaccurate towards the district. I think some of those, I think we don't necessarily need definitions for, but I mean, we as a board could come together and have those discussions to determine if that and the intentions behind those actions were detrimental in our modeling of behavior in our communities. And we are here as elected representatives of our community, so we should be upholding, you know, those model behaviors, I believe. And I mean, I'm sure there's situations where there will be necessary explanations or grace or, you know, mistakes that can get made. But I think that it is something that the board needs to have not transparent, but conversations about. And I think that's important for us to uphold not just the core values that we expect our students to have, but the core values that we too as a board, are elected to model for our community.
Yes, I think we need to set the example for our students. I know that-
There's no doubt about that.
So I think this is a way of maybe making us think 2 or 3 times before we write something or say something or appear somewhere or, do anything that could be construed as detrimental to people in this district.
Oh, detrimental to the people in the district. Would you care to expound on that? Give examples?
Teachers, administrators, the
Saying
district
things
as a
about
whole.
teachers that shouldn't be said.
Like what?
Calling them groomers.
Well, we
I
don't
never
know
once
until
called
it
them.
happens.
Oh, I haven't said you have. I'm just saying, that's just an example.
This is for all
Point of
of
order.
us and future board members.
Point of order.
Yep.
Yeah.
We voted not too long ago several sessions ago, about the decorum of giving each other maybe 2 minutes. But, I didn't want to, I just wanted to start a conversation here.
No, I appreciate it. So Ron, that was a good use for point of order. The 2-minute version, that was when we had a predetermined discussion item. That's when we made sure everybody had their 1 point. And we could apply that here if you like. Is that what you're suggesting, is we apply that?
I don't think we necessarily need to do that. Maybe we'll be more prepared for the next meeting. I wanted an introductory conversation as to where this is coming from and why it's needed. Because it seems like, since others have spoken, I'll just speak real quick. First time I read this, it just seems rather pointed, as it was directed towards a certain person. And it just alarms me that a majority, I think we're subjecting the board to groupthink. And I don't think that's a direction we necessarily want to go. We're a group of individuals. And we've just come through an era where we're discovering that so-called inaccuracies weren't absolutely inaccuracies, as more studies and more conversation, more deliberation has come out. So who decides what's inaccurate? Who decides what is reasonably perceived? So those are just conversations I think we need to have. And so I think Jane has a good point as to who determines what's belittling. I get it, a majority will vote and say that it is.
Right.
So I understand that's what you're saying.
Well, I think that
But
would be
it's-
solved with that, though.
Yeah.
Is not just a majority, the super majority. If we are censoring one, then the other 6 of us have to agree.
Right.
It can't just be 4, and then the other 2 disagree with it, and then they are part of the censure that they don't agree with. I think that would solve that problem.
Okay, I see, okay, I was going, because it doesn't say a super majority, it just says a
That's what I was-
majority.
yeah.
And so that is the purpose for us pausing a moment to discuss this at first reading, so that things like that can be shared and people can consider what that looks like, whether that is a friendly amendment to add or whether it's not. So that's why we paused in this moment to discuss a first reading, so that people can share their concerns or opportunities as well. So I'm going to make sure, Vice President Grider, is there anything you want to share on this topic?
No, I just think the concept of this, I'm got conflicting viewpoints. I mean, I see it. I lament the fact that we feel that there's a need for this, but I also understand that it's common practice in other districts. Ultimately, the boards of directors are limited in the consequences that we can dispense because we are each individually elected by the community. So the real impact of this is just saying that board majority or super majority, if we propose the amended language, puts it on record that we don't speak, that person is not speaking for us as a representation of the district. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just lament the fact that anyone is out there
I think,
disparaging the district or other board members.
So for the sake of tonight's conversation, we've all had a chance to share something. I'd like to have Carolee one last, since you're the one who wrote it, if you want to share one last point, then move on to the next item.
I just want us to always look like we're above board all the time, and they're always trying to do the right thing, and we're very careful about how we speak about our district, about our teachers, about librarians, about students that are different. Kids that don't look like all the other kids, teachers that dress differently than the other teachers. We all need to be careful of how we treat each other because, as we all know in this day and age, people have become very cruel.
We also need to be aware of freedom of speech.
Yes, but we need to be not cruel to others.
Right. And so next month, we'll have a good conversation about where do we draw those lines and what does that look like. And so I appreciate Director Harmon asking the question for more clarification. And then at the next meeting, there can be amendments or adjustments to different areas. And if you want to suggest conversations with Treasurer Owens, anybody, between now and December, I encourage you to do so. So thank you all, board, for that conversation. And up next is item 13. So we're talking about policy 0412. This is a motion to approve policy 0412 as presented. Do I have a first?
So moved.
Director Pushkar, do you have a second?
Second.
Director Ponder. Does anybody have any questions about policy 0412? This would extend the amount of time given to a resident to speak if they go through a certain process for a special extended patron comment. So any questions about this? This was brought by Director Pushkar, so if you have a question, Director Pushkar would be glad to answer. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say no.
No.
Okay, we'll do a roll call. We'll do a roll call vote just to make sure. Okay.
Director Olkey?
No.
Director Ponder?
Aye.
Treasurer Owens?
No.
President Blair?
Aye.
Vice President Greyer?
Aye.
Director Pushkar?
Aye.
Director Harmon?
Aye.
It's
The
fine.
motion passes. Next, we have a series of policies listed. This is 14A on your agenda. Do I have a first?
So moved.
Second.
Director Pushkar, second Director Ponder. Any discussion on this list? This is for second reading and
These are all MCE, right?
these are all
Well, you pretty much mandated.
the mandated adjustments, yes. Okay, seeing there's no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed say no. Motion carries. Next, we have number 15, so this is 15A, refers to a set of policies, 1300, 1301, regulations, as you see it all written. I need a motion to approve the policies.
So moved.
Director Pushkar, Director Ponder, any discussion?
Again, these are pretty much MCE mandated.
And these are mandated, but there are also changes based upon who's the person we report to. I do sort of point out, when people are looking at the values of the district, look at these policies. They're very clear, sexual harassment is prohibited in the district. And we're about to, again, reaffirm that. Equal opportunity is, we're committed to maintaining a workplace, educational environment that is free from discrimination, harassment, retaliation. And so everybody just take a look at that as well regarding equal opportunity. And in here, there's also reference to meal charges, but it's all wrapped together. This is brought for first and second reading all in the same meeting for vote because it's mostly just ornamental information that's changed. So if there's no other discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say no. Motion passes. This time I'd like to invite our interim superintendent, Mr. Mark Delaney, to speak.
Thank you, President Blair. Forgive me in advance, I am going to be wordy today, I promise you that. First, I want to give a big congratulations to our newest state championship team, the Francis Howell High School Cheerleaders. The team has made it to the Final Four several times in recent years and finally clinched that state trophy this fall. We will formally recognize the team at the December board meeting and hope you will all join the team for a cupcake and punch reception ahead of that board meeting. Look for more details on that event in the next board preview email. So once again, congratulations to those Francis Howell cheerleaders. Earlier this month, we received our annual performance report, or as some of you know that as the APR, from the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. The APR measures how well we are meeting state standards and making progress in key areas, especially student learning and continuous improvement. I'm pleased to report that Francis Howell continues to show steady improvement in our achievement and overall performance. Our total percent of points earned for the 2025 APR is 90.2%, up from 89.7% in 2024. Fewer than 50 K-12 school districts in the state of Missouri earned a score above 90%. These results reflect the hard work and dedication of our students, teachers, staff, and the support of our parents at home. Thank you. Howell of Fame nominations are now open. Howell of Fame is among the district's most prestigious awards. The purpose is to recognize individuals who go above and beyond the call of duty to serve the district in meaningful ways. Be thinking about the many different parents, volunteers, community organizations, and staff members who represent the very best of Francis Howell and whose efforts have made a lasting impact on the district and its people. You can find a link to nominate somebody special on the district's website or social media channels. Nominations will be accepted until February 1st. I want to thank and I also want to welcome our newest school resource officer, Casey Evers, with the St. Charles City Police Department, joined the Harvest Ridge Elementary School community and will serve as a resource for students, staff, and families. The role of the SRO is to provide a safe and supportive school environment, build relationships with students and staff, and serve as a resource for the safety education for our kids and staff. Officer Evers has been visible throughout the school day, participating in safety initiatives, class lessons, school events, and we once again want to welcome Officer Evers to our staff. I also want to highlight the many Veterans Day celebrations our schools hosted across the district on Tuesday, November 11th. I, along with board members and members of the Executive Cabinet, had the honor to attend several of the celebrations to honor the brave men and women who have served our country. I love that our schools continue to teach students about historical events, but also about service, sacrifice, duty, and honor. The celebrations and tributes were meaningful to students, staff, and the veterans themselves, and I am thankful for all of those who participated. The following day, the Communications Department hosted the first ever district's PTO President's Forum. This initiative aligns with our Goal 4 of our strategic plan. The event brought forth together PTO leaders from all 23 schools for collaboration and conversation. The group shared best practices in fundraising, volunteer management, learned about district news and events, and discussed the do's and the don'ts of PTO fundraising, purchasing, and more. I walked away from that event gathering with an even greater appreciation for the many great things that our PTOs do to make our school communities who they are. I want to thank the leaders of each of those groups for taking time out of their days to meet with us, share all of those best practices, and ask each other questions. The group will gather again in the spring for continued collaboration. I had the honor of attending our district's 19th annual Deaf Storyteller event last Friday at the St. Louis County Library. FHSD's partnership with Storytelling Festival began in 2006, and it was the third time we've welcomed storyteller Peter Cook. The excitement in the room was incredible to be a part of. I was happy to learn that the participation continues to grow each year. Last year, we more than doubled attendance, and we matched our participation with over 200 participants and approximately 125 students with hearing loss from school districts in the St. Louis area, both within Missouri and the state of Illinois. This year, the students got a STEM experience with not only stories, but the games and activities completed together across districts. Thanks to the generous $1,500 sponsorship from the local HLAA, the Hearing Loss Association of America chapter, every student was able to enjoy lunch at no cost. And a thank you to our dedicated staff, students, and of course, the families who make this event possible each year. Their commitment to creating an inclusive, communication accessible experience with interpreters, cart captions, use of remote microphones, technology, and low vision tools help to make sure that every student can fully participate in this special field trip. And I would be remiss if I just didn't give a special thanks to our teacher, Mrs. LaWanda Brewer, who's already working with the St. Louis Storytelling Festival to plan the 2026 event with Dak Varnig. I also want to provide a quick update to the board on the Early Childhood Program review. As was shared at the last board meeting, due to the increased demand for early childhood special education services, full-day tuition-based classrooms have been reduced by about 30% since 2021. Based on current projections, we will need to add at least 3 additional ECSE classrooms at our early childhood centers next school year. Further reductions in full-day tuition-based classrooms in those EC centers will likely be necessary in the future to accommodate the growing special education population at our early childhood centers. As you know, we're legally required to provide special education programs. That said, we also understand the value of early childhood education for all students and continue to problem solve where we may be able to place these programs for the 26-27 school year. I want to be clear to the board and to the public that administration has not made any decisions regarding the number of full-day classrooms. Our desire is to continue to offer full-day tuition-based programs. We are exploring the possibility of holding full-day programs at some of our elementary schools, like we currently house at Becky David Elementary, depending upon the space. We need more time to work through these options. Our intention is to bring a recommendation to the January board meeting for the board to consider. No changes are expected for the current school year. We will communicate any changes in program offerings and tuition rates with early childhood families and the community following the January board meeting. I also want to remind everyone that we are committed to supporting families in monitoring the reading materials their children select. To help you stay informed, families have 2 primary ways to view the books their students currently have checked out. Option 1 is to log into our Destiny system with your student's Active Directory AD credentials to view items currently checked out. Students can also log into the Destiny Discover by clicking the Destiny Library link in their Canvas courses. No additional password information is required once a student has logged into Canvas. Option 2 is to request a daily email letting you know what books a student has checked out at the end of each day. If interested in receiving a daily email about the books your child has checked out of the Francis Howell School District Learning Commons, there is a form online that every parent can fill out. The emails will start to be generated no later than 2 weeks after receiving a submission from a parent, depending upon the volume of requests received. Please note that the daily email will reflect the books a student has checked out at the end of a school day. If no items are currently checked out on a student account, an email will not be generated on that day. Our FHSD Library Media Specialists are here to help all of our parents. If you have any questions regarding your child's book selections, please contact your school's library media specialist. And I promise you, this is the last one. I will wrap up my comments today by reminding everyone of our Thanksgiving break. Our schools will be closed Wednesday, November 26th through Friday, November 28th. We continue to receive positive reports from our schools about the increased student engagement due to the student cell phone ban. Students are connecting to each other. In my career as a teacher for many years, I have to tell you how fortunate I've been to learn from kids. I learn from kids every single day. They certainly teach us a lot of valuable lessons. I'd like to encourage all of us as adults to follow the lead of our students and think about putting our phones away during the Thanksgiving holiday so we can be fully present with family and friends. I think we all might come back to school and work feeling a little bit more refreshed, a little bit more refocused, if we can stay off social media, stop scrolling and stop commenting for a bit, and just engage with the people that we love. Thank you, and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Board, before we do board comments, I'm going to do a better job than I did last month. And so everybody, if you have a comment, you can share. But we're going to avoid the conversation back and forth because it's not on the agenda. We're having topics of conversation back and forth. We want to be responsible and faithful to that promise. So whoever board member, if you want to share, feel free. We'll start off with Director Oki, and then we'll have a moment if Harper wants to share at the end. You also get a chance. So Harper, actually, Harper, do you want to go first? Or do you want to pause a moment? You've been. How about this?
We do it at the end. Do you want to go first? Or you want to see how it goes first?
I'll see how it goes.
See how it goes. I also want to see how it goes. Director Oki.
This is my first time doing something sincere at the end of a board meeting. And it's an opportunity for me to say that in the Francis Howell School District, our teachers do far more than just deliver lessons. They are creating the foundation on which our students' futures are built. Every day in classrooms across our community, they offer their guidance, their stability, their encouragement, and their understanding. For many of our students, school truly becomes a second home, a place where they feel seen, supported, and safe. That does not happen by accident. It happens because our teachers show up with compassion, creativity, and unwavering dedication. Sharing our gratitude is not just a kind gesture to do around Thanksgiving. It's a constant recognition of the extraordinary impact that our educators have on the lives of our children and our families in our community. Their work shapes not only their academic growth, but their confidence, their resilience, and their sense of belonging, and every student deserves to feel like they belong. The time and the energy and the heart that they pour into their classroom makes our district stronger, our community closer, and our students better prepared for the world ahead. This message is to every educator, including administrators in the Francis Howell School District. Thank you. Thank you for the long hours, the late nights of planning, the patience, and the belief that you bring into your work. Thank you for creating the spaces where students can be themselves, explore their potential, and know that they matter. Your efforts are not unnoticed. I see you, I appreciate you, and as a parent who has had 2 children graduate and pursue their own success in their futures, I'm deeply grateful for the role that you played not only in their lives, but in the lives of all of our students every day. I hope you have a wonderful, restful Thanksgiving break.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Oki. Do we have anybody else want to share something?
You just want to go down the line?
We'll go back and forth, so, yeah. So, Treasurer Owens.
A couple things. I'll try not to be as long as a certain person in the room.
Which one are you?
Wait a minute. I think he was longer. Oh, I should turn this on probably. First, I wanted to say thank you to whoever challenged Symptoms of Being Human, because I had the privilege of reading the book. And I know everyone doesn't read books through the same eyes. And books like this, I read through the eyes of a teacher, because I've seen these students. And my heart has gone out to them. But some takeaways I had from the book that I think all educators should read this book, and students that are old enough.
Sure.
Suicide rate is very high for our LGBTQ students. These students are often in a hostile environment in our schools, and we can't see everything that happens to them that is bad, but it happens all the time. Empathy and understanding is the key to their survival. Every student matters. We must do better to protect every student. It is not our job to judge others, but to love them. Also, I got to go to Central Elementary PTO meeting this week, and it was great for me as a former classroom music teacher. They had a percussion ensemble, and the ensemble
played percussion on those plastic drums from Home Depot. And they had regular drumsticks too, and all these items were donated. And then they had pool noodles that they used. Those aren't quite as loud. You know, it can get very loud in a music classroom when you're doing percussion. Been there, done that. But this was great, and I really enjoyed getting to see those kids again. It was awesome. So happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and especially the teachers and students who work so hard.
Thank you. Anybody else have a comment?
First of all, I just wanted to say thank you to Interim Superintendent Delaney for his reiteration of the resources that we have for concerned parents. I know the book thing is a hot topic right now. So I just want to make a quick comment on that. I just want to say I know that parental concerns, first of all, are valid. Parents are their children's first and most important educators. They hold a deeply rooted and legally recognized right to direct the moral and value-based upbringing of their children. When parents encounter material they deem sexually explicit or misaligned with their family's values on complex topics like gender identity, their concern comes from a place of protection. Their desire is to ensure their child is not exposed to themes they believe are inappropriate for their specific developmental level or home-taught values. This is not an abstract concern. It is a tangible expression of their role as primary caregivers. And the right to read is essential. The public school's mission is to prepare all students to be critical thinkers in a complex, pluralistic world. Literature is a primary tool for this. It builds empathy, expands perspectives, and equips students with intellectual and emotional skills to navigate differing viewpoints. The libraries and public schools in general have an obligation to serve every child. For many students, such as LGBTQ+ youth, students of color, or those from different religious or cultural backgrounds, finding a book that reflects their own life, a mirror, can be profound, life-affirming experience that makes them feel seen, valued, and safe at school. For other students, reading about experiences from their own, a window is the very foundation of empathy and social emotional growth. Literature often challenges our perspectives and comfort zones, and that very process can be profoundly mind-expanding. Works that present shocking or unconventional ideas force us to confront different realities and develop a more nuanced understanding of the world and the human condition. So I appreciate taking everyone's time for a moment just to express that, because it is not an either-or situation. It is very complex, and I think it's fair to understand that all parents are coming from a place of concern, and I love that we have very clear policies and ways for parents who do have those concerns to protect their children from what they feel is dangerous for them. Last thing real quick, also had an awesome experience attending Daniel Boone's Veterans Day celebration. I can't even express how amazing the work was that went into this, just mind-blowing. Also a lot of money that was raised for honor flights, which is close to my heart, as my grandfather was a World War II veteran and actually got to go on an honor flight. It's just a profound experience in and of itself. Also attended Francis Howell Middle School's How to Host a Murder Mystery Dinner Party, which was incredible performance. Highly recommend you guys, if you have time, go out and just, even if you don't have kids at these schools, just go check some of this out. It's just so heartwarming and impressive. This coming week, also going to go, I know FHN has a choir concert, Ackman, Early Childhood, I'm going to hit their Donuts with Grown-Ups. I think Westwood has an event next week too, so trying to get out and about to visit as many of these schools as possible, because if you need some bucket fillers at any given day, just go to a district event. You will be just amazed at what's happening, so thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, no, that was a lot.
That was good.
We're time.
First off, I want to thank our student board representative for being here and for participating with us. In order for me to make my comments, though, I'm going to ask that all minors leave the room, because it's...
Can we not do that? Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Actually, hold on.
I have the right to my board comments.
Not to
Thank you.
violate Missouri statute.
All right, so we're going to hold off the conversation back and forth.
Out of context, that is...
Point of order.
Wait, hold on. So you're wanting to read sections from other books?
Mhm.
That's disgusting.
Can I... The hazard behind reading the books is that, like you said, there's minors who are here who do not have the moment to be protected from that, like you were talking about.
Right.
and or people who are watching us online.
I'm fully aware of that.
Right, and it's different than the book living in the library, because
If calling
Remote
attention
access.
to an issue in this district is somehow maligning or making people uncomfortable, maybe it's time that we do something about this issue, more than just wringing our hands.
So this is the point where we're not able to have a full conversation. How about this? How many books are you hoping to read from tonight?
3.
How about this? Can you read from 1?
I can read from 2.
Can you read from 1?
Can we read from 0? Like, this
Point of
is
order.
so
Can-
inappropriate.
If you want to read from 1, and you
Are
can.
you restricting?
What?
Are you restricting how many I can read from?
I am asking you to read from 1. And if you want to read
Yes.
more than 1, we'll pay attention and see what happens. We have an opportunity to create the culture that we want to live in. And if you are wanting to read 3 books,
The books have been challenged. Point of order.
Okay.
I have.
All right. So, is there any legal guidance that we have on this moment, Mr. Delaney?
Our policy talks about the very statute, and that's in violation of it, so it is in our policy.
Great. Thank you very much to Harper.
Yeah, thank you, Harper. Have fun at school tomorrow. In the meantime, my thoughts and prayers are with Jane Hepler and her family during this difficult time with her mother being sick.
I will say, free speech does not mean the ability to do and say anything you want. Right? I mean, that's obviously, like, you can't yell fire and no. This is not. We can't have.
President Blair, to your question, we do have a regulation 1431 which talks about use of profanity, and that would be the only thing that I would see is if we're using words that would be considered profane aloud.
Right. So, regulation 1430. What was that?
1431.
Right.
Right, that's personal use of profanity, correct?
Well, if you're reading it out loud.
It's not my words. It's in the book, and these kids are reading this stuff, and if it's not appropriate to say inside of a boardroom, it's not appropriate to be in the libraries. If it can't be read on the radio due to FCC requirements, if there's a state statute against it, not only defines it, but prohibits it, and if there's a board policy against it, then it doesn't belong in the hands of children, period.
In order to be legally obscene.
Point of order.
It has to meet all
I'm
3
making my
criteria.
comments now.
All right. I'm stuck, and I'm trying to figure out the right response because.
I get it, Stephen. This is not
well,
joyous for me.
Well,
either.
it could be. How about this? Can you make your point without reading directly from the books? Can you identify where people can find the actual content of the book afterwards? So if they want to go on your Facebook page, they can find the information there.
They didn't write down page numbers, unfortunately.
Well, but you don't.
I'm not challenging the book. I'm reading it out loud.
Right.
Okay. Let me just.
Can you make your point without reading it?
I'm not sure, because in this book, the word is what makes it. This is in a book. It says he asked if I wanted a ride too. When I told him where I was headed, he frowned. That's Niggerville. He said, "What are you going there for?" Stanley didn't want his friend to drive me there, so I walked. When I got back home later in the afternoon, the house was empty except for Irma, who never set foot outside. She stood in her kitchen, stirring a pot of green beans and taking swigs from a bottle of hooch in her pocket. "So how was Enville?" she asked. It just goes on from there. This book is disgusting.
Mhm.
It's at Francis Hall Central and Francis Hall North.
What's the name of the book?
The Glass Castle.
Okay.
Then the book Tricks. Talks about the fact that virgin sex isn't very good.
Okay.
And that Charmers at Francis Hall Central.
Okay.
Then the Carnival at Bray. Very explicit about what a young man is doing to a young woman. Very explicit.
Mhm.
So, contrary to at least one comment on social media, I do not enjoy reading these passages. You must have a very sick mind to even think or say that. I'm asking the librarians at Francis Hall School District to get these books out of our libraries now. You had the singular power to put them in the school to begin with, so please do the right thing and get them out. We can continue presenting these award-winning books to the public, but each time I get patron comments, they are upset that no one is doing anything. If we are a truly ethical board, we will start following/enforcing the policies we have now instead of trying to amend freedom of speech. And regarding maligning the district, that I have never mentioned a teacher's name. I have never maligned teachers. I have never maligned the district. What I have done is shined a light on the fact that these books are in our district, and that's maligning, then you are not properly representing your constituents. And if you're not properly representing your constituents, I think you need to search what it is you're here for. I am very upset about these books. Anybody that wants this, I'll send it to you. I won't read the whole thing. Thank you, Stephen. I do not think that anybody on this board has the right to silence my speech if I want to read this. I think the problem is you're shooting the messenger. That's the real problem, because I'm shining a light on something. I ran on the fact of safety and security, and that's one of our pillars. Safety and security of these kids, making all kids feel comfortable when they go to school. Not all kids are feeling comfortable. Not all parents know what's in each one of our libraries, and not all parents are able to spend the time to go through everything that their kids are reading or exposed to. I do not believe that's the business that we should be in. We should not be in the business of giving pornography or age-inappropriate materials to our children, period. That's not why we're here, but yet it goes on pretty much on a daily basis. And if you want me to stop talking about this, well, I guess I have to claim my freedom of speech, and we can discuss it outside of this boardroom and maybe in a courtroom.
All right.
Point of order.
Thank you to Director.
Point of order.
Thank you to Director Pushkar. I appreciate you voicing your opinion that you're right to have through paraphrasing the pieces that allowed you to communicate a way that was able to impress upon everyone the contents of the books that you're concerned about without using the actual words that were identified as a concern through the regulation that Mr. Delaney had just mentioned. There's some strong opinions on this topic, right? And it's okay to have differing opinions on it. There's a line, and we may disagree on where the line gets drawn, but there's a process that's in place. If anybody wants to challenge a book, there's a process and policy that's already there. There's 5 going on, a 6th one added to it, conversations about potentially 100 other books being challenged, and the policy's there. We're following the policy, and we'll see what shakes out. We will follow the policy that was approved within the last year, and through that measure, decide which books.
I think the policy needs to be amended then, because it's going to break the system. There's no way that Mr. Delaney can
this is all
100
committees. But so that's a couple of parts. But in terms of point of order, it's not a conversation on this part either. We will follow the policy because that's what we do. The policy's in place, we will follow it, and if anybody wants to amend the policy, you can have a conversation. But the policy, you're right, has a challenge if somebody tries to challenge 100 books at the same time. But there's a stipulation that the superintendent can apply to use it if we're trying to avoid the entire system being bogged down. So I want to say a couple of things on a different topic. What was it, Ron? Ron, did you want to share anything?
No, I'm good.
He gave that look of his face of, I'm good. A couple of things. I was lucky enough to go to Veterans Day celebrations at Francis Howell North, Cosley, and Warren. What Warren does with the empty chair at the table, it hits you. And I want to thank those 3 schools and all the other schools that we were able to go to as well. I was going to call out Harper and how she was referred to as remarkably kind. And whatever it was, that term is just fantastic and a good thing for us to pursue ourselves. I was able to visit Central Elementary, went on a tour, and when I was there, I saw the new reading curriculum in place. I was able to see teachers using it and the kids excelling because of it. So to all the board members who helped support reading by approving the new reading curriculum for elementary schools, I want to say thank you and good job. It looks like it's really causing an improvement in reading. Additionally, in Henderson, I had a chance to visit there and I saw the gym, had a chance to walk around and see the kindergarten part 2, and I saw a para in the hallway with a female student who was just emotionally dysregulated. And for me, it was a good way of remembering that we have 16,500 students, but we have 16,500 individuals. And somewhere in Henderson, somebody's daughter was having a bad day, and there was a para who was there trained and ready to go, sitting with her for like 15, 20 minutes before she was ready to come back. And I forgot the para's last name, a young man, but I just wanted to let everybody know that that's the kind of care that's happening in all of our schools, and he was a great example for it. Kirley stepped out for a moment, but I was also going to share this. The 8th Distinguished Hall of Fame inductee into the St. Charles High School is Kirley Owens. Kirley was a St. Charles School District employee for 32 years as a vocal music teacher. She was dedicated to her craft and is still an outspoken supporter for her students. As a Francis Howell School District board member, she also raised 3 wonderful children. And so St. Charles School District only has 8 Hall of Fame inductees, and one of them is our own Kirley Owens. And when you see her, I just want to celebrate that piece. The very best days for Francis Howell are still ahead of us. To the administration, to the teachers, you have the strategic plan, you know the marching orders, you have the trust and the direction from the board in order to apply that. So we are thankful for you, and we trust you to have another productive month educating students. So thank you all, and we will not do a motion to close because the board will be going to closed session. So thank you all for attending. Thank you all for joining us.
All right, we do have to adjourn, open, and return to close.
We do have to adjourn. Looking at that piece of paper, I'm gonna trust you.
Last page.
Okay, so a motion to adjourn open session and return to closed session. Director Puskar, followed by Director Ponder. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. All right, so board will go into closed session.